Vaxxxguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaxxxguru Ji Ki Fateh. Greetings, everyone. Greetings to all those who are seen. Greetings to all those who are unseen. Thank you for joining us again. And let us continue our journey. So, if you recall, when we began this, and it's just a question of just linking the whole thing together, that we began with developing our capacity, insights into what we can do there. So meditation, qigong, tai chi, and various other interventions that we can take. So that's at one level. Now, on another level, we've also been looking at how we can maintain some level of control. Well, I wouldn't say control, I'd say more like a flow as the shifting chaos becomes more and more apparent. So now we are seeing that the emerging concerns to do with those who have been, you know what I mean, and the impact of shedding, where if you haven't done any research on this, please go and find research on shedding, what is shedding, and how that can affect individuals around people who have been, so it's important to start looking at your own safety now in terms of how do I preserve my immunity, not just building my immunity, which is the stuff that we've been talking about. Now it's about maintaining that immunity around you. So with some of the interventions, the irreversible gene therapy interventions, there are now new concerns coming through in terms of the shedding. So please go and research that. And it's important to become more aware of what's actually happening within that space. Really, what I wanted to talk about today was, okay, as we are moving into the summer, there are some anticipations in terms of the changes that are underway, which, as I described earlier on in my content, was the aware observer. The one, if you know what you're looking for, not necessarily what you want to look for, but if you know what you are looking for, then you are able to see the signs around you. And the aware observer, as I term one group of people, and I would like to say those are the ones who have critical thinking, are challenging everything that they're seeing, including their own worldviews. That's the aware observer. And then there are those who are the conformists. No critical thinking. It's okay. Whatever we're told, let's just go for it. So the aware observer can see that there are shifts going on, which are going to begin to manifest in our everyday reality as we move on. And these include, for example, many of us may have noticed that there is an oscillation in weather going on. And by oscillation, I mean weather's always changing like everything else in the world. But the oscillation is a bit more stark, and it's a little bit more pronounced, and it's a little bit more frequent. And you can monitor this yourself, and you'll see that we may be going into a summer and autumn in which this fluctuation becomes more and more pronounced. Impact of this then on agriculture is, doesn't take a scientist or a genius to work that out, that there are implications then on food production, etc. So it's a good time to grow if you're in the northern hemisphere, and good time to ensure that you're stocked up a little bit. As my Hopi friend once said to me, you're only as rich as the pantry you have. Whatever's in your pantry is the wealth you have. So it's important to become a little bit more self-sufficient. The paradigm we are moving into, and we will end up with sooner or later, is one in which we have to take responsibility for ourselves, and away from institutions, away from others giving you the life that you think you want. It's now we are being brought willingly. Those are the smart ones. The aware observer again will willingly see that this is an auspicious time in which we are shown, or the human ego is being shown for what it is. And as a result, there is one in which this process is self-evident, and then we work through it, and we kind of transcend the egoic sense of self, and this is the smart way of moving forward. And there are those who will not, who will assert that, that little mental voice within themselves is their reality, and as a result that reality that they are trying to assert, I'm afraid, is changing right now, which will then create suffering for the individual. So it's an auspicious time because we have been brought to our mortality. That's the first important time that we realize that, hey, life has a it cannot be taken for granted. There are ways that can be affected, and there are ways that can be naturally effective, where you can be affected by pathogens. But then there are those other kind of, the controlling types, who are desperate to ensure that the paradigm is maintained, who then control your lifestyle as well. So we are waking up to the fact that we have a mortality. We are waking up to the fact that, you know what, your ego doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. It's not what you want, it's what is happening. So this what's happening, if we can see this change as a something that we can work with and go towards and become participant in it, then it is in fact an auspicious time. So the grace is the fact that we've been brought to our mortality. The grace is the fact that we have been shown our egoic self. The grace is the fact that all this darkness is being revealed, in front of us. And yes, many of us don't want to believe that because it's a bit too painful to recognize that you've been taken for a ride. But having said that, we are waking up to the fact that things, what we are being told of how things are, in particularly through the propaganda channels, is not necessarily the version of reality that's out there. So this new version of reality that is emerging is a version of reality in which this division that we spoke about a few months ago becomes more and more pronounced. And this more and more pronounced isn't just about those who have been jabbed and those who haven't been jabbed, but also those who, it's a change in frequency. So human beings, like everything else, are just a set of frequencies. We are this divine song, Gawe Kotam, with this divine song that is being sung, a happening. We're a happening. We're a happening that emerges, that manifests as a song. Yeah, and so this divine song that is unfolding, we can be part of the greater macro unfolding as the happening, without trying to control situation towards our own egoic needs. And that process of working with, in embracing the grace that to be alive, the gift of, you will discover you're okay. No matter what state you're in, you will still discover you're okay. And our egoic sense of self always tries to create a future scenario in which life will be better. And as a result, we get trapped in that. So it's grace because we are being shown how to live our life, right? We have not really lived our life. We've lived in this virtual, illusionary kind of make-believe worldview, which worked for a while. Unfortunately, like all good things come to an end. It has dissolved, and this new paradigm is emerging. So what can we expect? Well, we can expect the oscillating methods. We can expect the just in line just-in-time supply chain starting to wobble, and it is wobbling even now. And what does that mean? That means supplies become a bit more difficult. It means food prices and commodity prices shoot up. It means unemployment can become evident, and obviously you can see where the universal income will now come through is because to try and compensate for the change that's going on. Other things that we will see in this emerging paradigm is the shifting value. From one space, you will see a lot of people grabbing, because the ego is now beginning to pick up that things are a little bit unstable, and the ego always looks for stability, right? Stability and security, firmness. It needs attachments. It needs attachment with the family. It needs attachment with wealth. It needs attachment with property. It needs attachment with race, with gender, with political worldviews. It needs attachment because it needs that sense of belonging. It gives this false sense of security that it's okay. I'll always be here. No, my friends, it's an illusion that is now perfectly in the process of being deconstructed, and about time too. Why? Because it brings us then to what we are, who we are. This happening that you and I are, which is the wave on top of an ocean, just see yourself, see your life as that, see yourself as that. And if you analyze your sense of self enough and your life, you will realize that the metaphor works really well, that there is no difference in terms of as you have evolved in your life and as you will dissolve into the ocean. It's very similar to a wave. It becomes and it gets really big and then slowly diminishes and to return back and then emerge as a new wave somewhere. This is what we as human beings alive is now moving our focus towards. So, as these changes are taking place, so I've mentioned a few, and I will keep kind of, as I'm doing my own research, sharing whatever we can share with you. I think it's important to realize now focus on things that you want, not things that you don't want. So a positive way of looking at this is like, say you don't want restrictions, right? For argument's sake, you don't want to be, restricted. So rather than complaining, rejecting, resenting, all of that, look on the other side. Look at the fact that you have been given an opportunity to explore ways of manifesting your freedom in new ways. And these new ways may be creative ways. These new ways may be ways of helping set up little community groups. And I would definitely urge everyone that is listening, as we move on, it's really important to have small groups of people that are like-minded, are able to support and help each other as we move forward. Living in isolation on so many levels, down for 12 months or so. In fact, I think 400 days now. Plus, just think about that. Months or so. In fact, I think 400 days now. Plus, just think about that. You have been heinous. That stress we us in post-traumatic stress disorder, and the symptoms of that are irregular anxiety and other symptoms which I'll start sharing. So it's important to start building a network of support and obviously improve your own health and well-being, but also supportive, with groups, etc., where you can meet up, where you can speak, where you can share ideas, where should the supply chain start with growing, with pickling, with storing food, with making things. So as life-changing as that may seem, it's a fantastic opportunity for all of us to begin to recognize that we are in the process of claiming this sovereignty, becoming sovereign human beings, in which whatever is happening at the moment, and as dark as it may seem, know that the game is already over. Know that the game has already been won. All this is the debris falling apart. The game has been won, irrespective whether it's 2 or 12 months from now. It's the conclusion is in place, and the conclusion is not what you think or what I think is happening at the moment. This process is simply a process of exposure. It's to expose what has been going on for such up and smell the coffee, and that's where we're hot in more than one way. And move towards autumn. You've seen what's happening in some other countries, Vietnam, Thailand, India. Those people who are starting to experience all sorts of different kinds of symptoms as well. So it's important to realize you need to take care of yourself, build your immunity, vitamin C, vitamin D3, K2, zinc. All of these vitamins are really good to help you make sure your diet is as healthy as it can be. Drink, good water. Avoid any of this corporate stuff. The only way this grip is going to end from humanity is when humanity realizes it's not the governments, it's the corporations behind the governments that do a lot of the grabbing. And the sooner we turn our back on some of these corporations, the sooner we can get some level of. It's a pivotal time. It's a month in which many changes will to become more and more apparent. By the summer, by June, the energy is a lot more brighter. It's a lot more positive, and it's an energy of change. It's an energy of freedom. It's an energy of breaking some of those shackles. But it's also starting to see some of the exposure for what it is. And I think we're brave enough now as humanity to face some of the heinous stuff that's been going on and is going on. I think we're brave enough now to do that. And as a collective, this is the only time in which we are able to contribute to each other's well-being and ensure that we are healthy and those around us are healthy. And those who are not, we have a heart of compassion to enable them to also move to lessen their suffering. So a month of change, probably in the background at the moment, leading to a summer of lots of energetic chaos. But having said that, this is going to the other side. This is breaking through now. And the breaking through bit will take some effort from all of us to contribute. We can either do it willingly, or we can present it, and we stop fooling ourselves, or we taught a lesson in which we will learn that we were fooling ourselves, because existence is taking no prisoners now. Okay, so after all of that, where do we always go? We go to that place within us. We find comfort, we find solace, we find strength. And for those people who have been practicing disciplined practice, to recognize that has a huge impact, not on your psychological health, but also on what I'm going to start bringing to the surface, spiritual health. And when we talk about spiritual health, we're not talking about this, it's not religious, it's not unicorns and rainbows. It's about sense of trust, sense of safety, security within ourselves, and positive psychological. Those people who have been going there are now starting to see the spiritual emergence. And spiritual emergence will become more and more evident in the general population as things become more and more obvious. I think that's good at that. So meditation, ensuring that it's straight and upright. Pull your shoulders back, bringing your focus to yourself. And begin to notice your posture. Try and get a sense of your whole body as best as you can. Notice that you have awareness of your feet or around your feet, and you can have awareness on the top of your head. And then you can have a sense of the whole body. So this is you. And as we breathe in, see if you can get some awareness of your internal climate. So what do we mean by that? Let's look for any sensations within ourselves. So if you just imagine a hula hoop above your head, imagine this hoop comes down, and as it comes down, it lights up your body for any sensations that are obvious and dominant. From your head all the way down to your feet. And if you locate anything, just notice where it is. No judgment, no commentary. The next thing we look within our internal climate is how do we feel? So we take a moment to notice how we feel in this moment of now. Do I feel comfortable, settled, calm? Do I feel uncomfortable, unsettled, anxious? Right this moment. Then bring your focus to your thoughts. Notice the kind of thoughts you're having. And on your next breath in, if you bring your focus now to where your body makes contact with wherever or whatever you're sitting on. Notice the sensations. Allow your awareness to come up towards your hips. And then gently as you breathe out, bringing your awareness to your thighs. From your knees, you move to ankles. And then notice your feet, gently moving to the soles of your feet. Come back to the chair or the floor or wherever your body makes contact with the ground or what you're sitting on. Notice that your back is straight. And then we bring our focus to our lower back, moving to middle back, moving to our shoulder blades. And then from our shoulders, we go down to our elbows. From your elbows, you move to wrists. Notice the palms of your hands. Notice the fingers of your hands. Bringing your focus to your eyes. Notice the darkness. Notice the one that's aware of sitting behind your eyelids. That your awareness, or you as awareness, behind your eyelids. See if you can your awareness to your awareness, so to speak. As you breathe out, allow your eyes to relax and soften. Scan your tongue from the back to the tip. And then as you breathe out, allow it to soften. And on your next breath out, allow your face to soften. As the breath, and once again, just becoming aware. So your body right now, as is mine, is changing moment by moment. And notice how it's located and embedded where you are. The ground beneath you is the only ground that can hold you. Becoming aware of that. The air in front of you is the only air that can become your breath. Notice as you breathe in and out. The warmth, the coolness that you feel on your skin can only be felt in the environment you're in, surrounded by all that space, that time, that air, that environment. Located. And notice that if you come to your breath, that this moment is the moment that becomes the next moment. While it's always now, this moment connects you to all the moments that ever have been. This moment connects you to all the moments that ever will be. Eternally. And in this moment right now, you occupy the same space, the same time, with all that exists right now. Every tree, every blade of grass, every dewdrop, every cloud, every fish, every earthworm, every apple, every leaf, all that exists right now, you exist with it. Knowing that you are held and embedded in this moment. On your next breath out, opening your awareness, begin to listen to the sounds around you. And notice how this bell makes this moment eternal. Gently bringing your focus just beneath your nose. Begin to watch the breath as it moves in and as it moves out of the body. When you find that your focus has been distracted by a sound or a thought, notice the distraction, bringing your focus back to your breath. Notice how the breath beats by itself. Just as the breath breathes by itself, the life flows by itself. It continues, bringing your focus now, noticing the start of your in-breath and the end of your in-breath, and as best as you can, the start of your out-breath and the end of your out. Stay, start, end of your out-breath. Beneath your nose with a little bit of effort and a commitment to yourself to be with your breath, to watch the breath as it moves in, to watch the breath as it moves out. Follow your out all the way till the end and notice when it stops. Notice exactly when it stops. See if you can identify the moment your out breath completely stops. And how long does it stop before the in breath begins? Following your out breath all the way to the end. And with every breath out, allowing yourself to get deeper and deeper into this moment. Allow yourself to become the breath as best as you can. Notice the gap before the in-breath begins. Stay with your breath. Notice how you're breathing now. Notice how the breath feels. Does your breath feel light or does it feel heavy? Does your breath feel and flow easily or does it feel erratic? Does it flow easily or does it feel labored? Stay with your breath. Stay with your breath. Notice the gap at the end of your out-breath before the in-breath. Notice how the breath changes, becoming subtler and subtler. Now bringing your focus to the sound of your breath. Try and listen to the in-breath as it comes in. Try and listen to the out-breath as it goes out. Stay with your breath. Listening to your in-breath as it comes in. Listening to the out-breath as it goes out. The out-breath as it goes out. Listening as intently as you can. Listening as intently as you can. And now, on your next breath out, open your awareness. Allow, not looking for sounds, not seeking them out, not judging them, not commenting, simply listening. Listening to the sounds that are close to you. And listening so intently, following the sound of this bell. Notice the silence within you. unwavering, undisturbed, pure. The stillness. Notice the fact that you are conscious of this moment that is flowing. There is an absence of fear, an absence of hate. Notice the timelessness of this moment. Notice how this moment is a continuous flow, never born, never dies, always just is. Allow yourself to embed yourself in this moment through the silence at the end of this bell. Gently bringing your focus just beneath your nose and just sitting with your breath. Sitting with this moment to moment. Noticing your presence. No long absent moment, but presence in itself. Your presence. This presence is your divinity. This presence is the source. This presence is unchanging. Presence within themselves right now. Your body as best as you can. Noticing the sensations where your body makes contact with whatever sitting on or lying on. All the way down to straight and upright. Shoulders, arms, hands are relaxed and comfortable. Your eyes are still closed, your mouth is still closed, and your face is relaxed. Coming back to your breath. And now as the breath comes in, note you can sense your body, and the breath goes out, you can sense your body. Sensing your body as the breath comes in, sensing your body as the breath goes out. Imagine that the breath enters your body through every single pore on your body as you breathe in. And the breath leaves your body through every single pore on your body as you see if you can. Your whole body, breathing out. Breathing in, as you breathe in, your whole body acting like a sponge. And as you breathe out, your whole body expelling all the air through every pore on your body. The next spell, use this spell to draw a few deep breaths in, and in your own good time, open your eyes. Next spell, use this spell to draw a few deep breaths in, and in your own good time, open your eyes. Welcome back. Sorry to disturb your peace. Hope to see you soon. Be safe, be peaceful, be safe, and know, looked after, that you are graced to be who you are and to participate in these moments called Vaxxxidents ka khala, Vaxxxidents ki fateh. Thank you very much for being